What's poppin' T Squad? It's me, Keisha, and I'm here with my all tea, all shade, Kandi and the Gang, Season 1, Episode 3 review. Okay, so on last night's episode, we start off with where we left off last week with Torin and Phillip getting into it. So they end the conversation with Torin saying to Phillip, "Nice to meet you. You're just as everybody said you were." And I was like, oh, wow. Way to kick shit off. So Phillip kind of like sat there like, girl. So it's clear that they do not get along. So Kandi comes in and she sees Torin and they sit down and they have a conversation, and he tells her that he does not like all the changes that have been made since he left, talking about Phillip, just as Phillip is walking by. So I don't know if Phillip overheard what was being said or not, but he immediately went over to Don Juan and says, you know, that big bird came in with his big damn yellow sweater. And that he don't like Torin. And I was like, who do you like, Phillip? Shit, what the fuck? So Torin tells Kandi, you know, he tried me like I was a little boy. Kandi like, oh my God, like this is just too much. So she then goes and joins Phillip and Don Juan's conversation. And Kandi asks Phillip, you know, like, what happened? Like, what didn't happen now? And Phillip was like, he came in like, we need him. I don't need him to manage events. He'll have to report to you guys. I'm not dealing with him at all. And Kandi was like, now, wait a minute. Like, she was like, now, you tripping, because at the end of the day, sir, I'm your boss, not the other way around. You just not going to be telling me what you are and ain't going to do. Like, this is not your establishment. So I agreed with Kandi that he went too far with that statement and all of this, what he not gonna do, and this, that, and the third. Like I said, I can get Phillip's temperament, but as the episodes go on and on and on, like there's no warmth. We've only seen one scene of him being nice to somebody, and it was in this episode, but we need to have some type of warmth and cordialness and, you know, just being nice. Like, you don't have to be a drill sergeant all damn day long. You attract more flies with honey than you do with vinegar or whatever. Bees with honey and tabernacle. I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But anywho, yeah, he do need to loosen up some. He really honestly does. And he needs to watch his mouth and who he talking to, honestly. So Dominique is 45 minutes late, child, to work. And mind you, she's the bartender. So they can't even sell drinks to anybody because she's not there. Meanwhile, Brandon, the GM, really don't give a damn that she's not there because that's his little boo thing that he messing with on the low. He said he on the phone trying to call a plumber because the sink is stopped up, just filled with dishes and just nasty backed up water. And Brian and Chandrika looking at him like, we all around here busting our ass and you just standing there texting or doing whatever on your phone. So Brian then asks him, you know, where is Dom? Because, you know, it's been an hour now at this point and they need a bartender. So he basically was on something. She'll be here. I can't police her. She'll be here in a minute. I've already handled the situation. Meanwhile, he's sitting at the bar feeding his face. I'm like, since when employees get to sit out in the open and eat? Like, I've never seen that being done at any restaurant ever. There's a room in the back for staff. Like, what in the hell is going on? I'm like, what does he do here? Because he does not do anything. It seems like this man literally got their job to get on Dom. Like, you just couldn't ask for her number because he is so unprofessional. He needs to go. So, Brian does not appreciate having to get behind the bar and fix drinks because, you know, he's already let them know that he had an alcoholism problem that he was dealing with during quarantine. So I agree with him. Like, y'all don't know if that's going to trigger me or whatever the case may be, even though you are still in the environment of being around drinks regardless. But being directly there is a whole nother demon. So I understood where he was coming from with that, but it seemed like Brandon was just oblivious and really didn't honestly care. So Dom finally arrives to work and she goes behind the bar and them cameras pan down to that floor behind the bar, and I wanted to throw up. This was not a good look for Kandi. I know she thought this was going to be her Vanderpump Rules, but this has turned into a kitchen nightmare, child, because after seeing that, I would never in a million years go eat there. That floor was disgusting. It was shit all on the floor. It was cups and bottles. And then, like I said, the sink was stopped up and just nasty. Like, you can't tell me they ain't got rats and roaches up in there. Like, why was it nasty? And I'm like, now, from what y'all tell me about her grade for her restaurant always being low, I see why. It's nasty up in there. Gross. Would never in a million years pay money to eat from a nasty ass establishment, because if the health department would have came in there at that moment and saw that nasty ass floor like that, they would have shut them the fuck down, because that is trifling. And Kandi ought to be, Kandi and Ty, because it's both of their show. Kandi and Ty ought to be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to go down this way. They really honestly should, because this show was honestly a disservice to OLG. It really honestly was. Because ain't no way. No. So, Chandrika tells Phillip that Dominique was late and that they couldn't sit people at the bar until she got there, which was an hour late. And that Brandon, was eating or whatever. And Phillip was like, but what did you do? Like, you kept soldiering on. You kept doing what you had to do. And it was like he was congratulating her. And they was being cordial to one another for the first time. And I was like, if he could be more like that more often, I think that the rest of the staff would gravitate more towards him. Like, he needs to show more caring and warmth, because I actually like that moment between him and Chandrika. But I was like, damn, Chandrika, I thought Dominique was your girl. You threw her ass under the bus. I guess she say it's a difference between friendship and work. I don't blame you, girl. So Phillip talks to Brandon about his behavior, eating at the bar, standing there, not doing shit, the complaints from the staff. And Brandon, in his confessional, says that he doesn't want to be a strict manager. So he basically don't want to hear shit that Phillip got to say. Get this fake ass Joe off of my goddamn screen. I want to know looking ass. Nigga, get out of here. He irks my soul. Please, get away. So in Phillip's face, though, he says that, okay, I'll put this in motion. Aye, Captain. So then the staff meet up after work at a little restaurant bar type situation, and Chandrika brings her new boo thing named June. And Patrick is visibly shook, bothered by this. And I'm like, why you feeling some type of way? You got a whole girlfriend. But it was the same scenario of when they got together the last time, and he was talking about his girlfriend Safari, and she was over there making faces and stuff. It's obvious that they still got feelings for each other. And if I was both of their spouses watching this show, if they're still with them, I would be side-eyeing the fuck out of both of their asses. So Patrick then invites them all to his housewarming party, and Chandrika say she don't want to go because June and Patrick had words about a year ago, and they actually had the footage of them getting into it outside the restaurant when he told Chandrika it's time for her to come back in to work. And dude was like, she coming or whatever. He was like, I wasn't talking to you. And I was like, oh, Lord, Jesus, the ghetto. So, she then sits down and talks to Brian about, what's been going on with you and this whole sobriety situation. And he just explains to her, how bad it was for him during quarantine. And she says that she still worries about him because he had a previous drug problem as well. I was like, damn, he was really truly fucked up over there. Like, oh, Jesus, bless his heart. So Rashard and Brian sit at the bar on a new day at work. And they both talking about how they hungry and ready to eat. And Brian was like, let's sit at the bar. And Rashard was like, we can't sit at the bar. He was like, why not? I'm gonna do what I see management do, basically. I'm gonna take their lead, because just the other day, Brandon was sitting at the, bar eating with no qualms. So Brandon then decides to finally step in and be a fucking general manager, and comes over and tells them that they can't be sitting at the bar at no point, because they're not supposed to be sitting around lounging around out in the front. And I'm like, well, ain't that the pot calling the kettle the fuck black? So he tells them to get up and move, and Brian said something to him. I don't remember what he said, but I took it as a joke. But obviously Brandon didn't. So he then runs and tells Phillip that Brian got snappy with him and he didn't like that. He didn't agree with it. So Don Juan then asks Phillip, how has the day been going? And he tells him about the incident between Brian and Brandon. So they get them both and they all have a seat. Brandon, Don, and Phillip then confront Brian about his mouth. And I'm like, Brian, this was your opportunity to say and put this nigga on blast for just eating at the bar, standing around and shit the day before. You should have put his ass on blast at that point. But he was more so concerned about the fact that they was coming down on him about his mouth. Now, he do got a smart ass mouth. So Don tells Brian that, you was tripping, like, with your mouth. You just can't be saying any and everything to everybody. Like, these are still your bosses. So Don then I'm skipped the whole part. My bad, y'all. So Phillips was like, I can terminate you. I've been in your shoes before. Brian was like, you ain't never been in my shoes. I'm an 8. What size are you? And I was like, ooh, somebody want to be on the unemployment line. Like, oh, wow, this is what we're doing. Even Don Juan was looking like, is this nigga crazy? Did he relapse? What the fuck is going on? So Phillip was like, just to be clear, he's suspended as of right now. And Brian was like, based off what? Getting loud. And I was like, first of all, why are y'all even having this conversation out in front of customers? Why not take this outside or in the back? Like, everybody in there is fucking unprofessional as shit and don't know how to run not now business. And I'm looking like, you would think with Kandi being so successful in all of her other endeavors that she would know better. But everything at that restaurant is just ghetto. So Don then escorts Brian outside, because he was being insubordinate, and tell him, just take your suspension, do better, and we'll keep it moving. So Don Juan then sits back down with Phillip and notes to him that, this is your 3rd time getting into it with staff. Like, you need to take accountability too for your action. Don tells also tells Phillip that Brian is going home. Phillip was like, I'm mad about what just happened. I don't appreciate that. I'm not dealing with it. And Don Juan points out that his interactions with staff always go left, which they do. And Phillip was like, it's not me, and I'm upset, and blah, blah, blah. And Don Juan was like, every time we sit down, you can't just be giving me no ultimatum, sis. Like, this is not how this goes. Like, Phillip takes his job, I feel like, a little bit too seriously. Serious to the point where you would think that his name was on the goddamn mortgage. Like, what is going on here, sir? So Phillip get up and walk away. He pissed off. He goes outside to his car, and he talks shit to the camera in his car, and he says that Don Juan might be a part of the problem too, but he doesn't want this to get in between their working environment and their situation or whatever. And I'm like, you unprofessional too now, Phillip. You just can't get up and walk away and storm off just because you feeling some type of way. These people are your boss. Like, what is going on at OLG? Like, what is going on? And I heard the food ain't that damn good for these people to be acting the food. I heard it was too goddamn salty. So then we see Patrick tell Safari that he invited Chandrika to their house, to his housewarming, and she was like, no, you the fuck you didn't. She makes it known that she does not agree and does not like that. So he was like, all right, I'm gonna disinvite her. So I can't wait to see how this whole situation gonna go down. Because I'm like, if she pitches a fit about this, June you need to be looking for July and August to replace her ass. So Chandrika is a swim teacher, and she goes over to the OLGs, one of their houses, to teach them water aerobics. Dominique and Kandi join them, and they all get in the pool and they doing their little thing. Mama Joyce is energetic. Mama Joyce, you would have thought that she was Jackie Joyner Kersey in that pool. Aunt Nora could barely move, but she tried, and Aunt Bertha was just like, fuck this. Aunt Bertha was like, girl, get me the fuck out of here. So then after that, they all sit down and have, barbecue lunch or whatever, and they discuss Phillip. And Nora and Mama Joyce say they love Phillip. They love him. They love the way he manages and all of that stuff. But Bertha wants us to know. She said, put it up on the screen that I don't like him. I can't stand him. It's like, Bertha, who do you like? So Torin and Brian at the end of the episode head out for, just a little boys' day out, catching up over ice cream. And Torin tells Brian that he did distance himself from him in the past because, he was seeing things that he didn't really agree with. And I'm guessing that he was talking about Brian's drug use. And Brian admits that back then, like, there was no talking to him. He thought that he was doing and living the life, child, and was living La Vida Loca and was miserable. So he also goes on to tell us that before quarantine, he had a really bad drug problem, and being in quarantine and adding the alcohol on top of it, he said he was drinking like a gallon of vodka a day, throwing up blood 2-3 times a day, like almost literally killing himself. And I'm like, damn, like, I want to know what was the root of the problem, like what brought on this depression, this anxiety, and the drug use, and all, like what initially brought that on. Because we find out that literally 3 months prior to filming, his sister committed suicide. His sister unalived herself, and the medics found her with a bottle of vodka by her bed that was empty. So that really messed him up. And he was saying, he's dealing with it. He swears that he'll never go back to that lifestyle again. And I just felt really bad for him. I hope and pray that this man is in counseling and seeking some type of help and going to meetings, because he does seem like he's very fragile. And I think that's the reason why he responded to Phillip the way that he did, because he's going through so much eternally. But, Torin was like, I'm here for you. I got you and I love you. And that was how the episode ended. Overall, I give the episode a C+. It was cute, something to watch. But like I said, the behind the scenes stuff that we are seeing is just so displeasing and disgusting. And it just makes Kandi's whole franchise look bad. Anywho, let me know what y'all thought about tonight's or last night's episode of OLG. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell button. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.